Regular meeting in Clear Lake, moved by Mark, seconded by Mike, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda, you have a copy of the minutes of May 3rd, 2021. You need approval of the bills and claims, of which you'll also have a copy. And we have the following licenses and permits: liquor license, Class C, liquor license with outdoor service and Sunday sales. It's K&B Emporium, Class C, beer permit with Sunday sales. Quick Star number 1066, Class C, liquor license with outdoor service. MNG Restaurant renewals. Class C, liquor license with Sunday sales. Cancun by the lake, and that's new. A transient merchant permit. Roller City Tropical Snow, that's a renewal. Peddler's permit. Holistic Harmony, that's new. Excavator license. Groves Contracting, Forest City, it's a renewal. Jensen Excavating, Story City, that's new. Cigarette permit. Lake Liquors, Wine and Spirits, and Pilot Travel, those are renewals. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now is the time and place for anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern that is not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter the minutes. This is not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, and you have 3 to 5 minutes. None appearing. We'll move on to unfinished business. 5A, parade and special events spot saver ordinance, and we are on the second reading of that. Quickly, I'm going to go through that first paragraph with regard to, and this is in the packet, with regard to that spot saving ordinance. And it states, items or objects on public property, it shall be unlawful for any person to attempt to claim, reserve, or occupy, either in person or by the placement of any object or item, which may include but is not limited to ropes, tents, chairs, sleeping bags, blankets, or other devices or barriers on any public property, a location for viewing and observing a parade or special event before 5 a.m. on the day of the parade or special event. Any object or item placed before the aforementioned date and time or placed after the aforementioned date and time that is determined to be a hazard or to negatively impact or damage public property by any city official is subject to being immediately removed from public property and discarded by any city official. All objects or items which are legally placed shall be immediately removed by the person that placed the item on the public property immediately following the parade or special event. And now to read the motion, I ask for a motion to approve ordinance number 860, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa by amending section 60.08, parades regulated, adding a new paragraph regulating parades and special events spot saving by this city council. And this is the second of 3 readings. Motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Bennett, that we approve ordinance number 860 on the second reading. Mark.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Dana.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
And Gary.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, and ordinance number 860 is approved on the second reading. 6A, new business, Main Avenue Street Reconstruction Project, North 14th Street to North 20th Street, project update and review of pay estimate number 6. Mr. Petersburg, Beanstra and Kim, welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm pleased to be able to report tonight that construction on the East Main Avenue street reconstruction from 14th to 20th is substantially complete. Last Friday, V&K and city staff did do a final inspection on the project, prepared a punch list that's been sent to the contractor. They are working on that and targeting having everything addressed on the punch list prior to Memorial Day. So schedule-wise, we're targeting the final pay estimate, final acceptance for a council meeting in June. Pay estimate 6 in your packets is for the sidewalk work completed this spring. After subtracting previous payments and the 5% retainage, the amount due to Wix Construction is $116,677.81. I know we've noted this before, but we are on track to be complete with the project under budget, and as of right now, ahead of schedule. Any questions?
And the sod is in, and we are duly watering the sod,
Correct,
even on the weekends, I see.
correct.
Any other questions, council members?
Just
Yes.
a couple. Well, the markings, are they going to be a continuation of 20th to 24th Street?
Yes, and Public Works is putting those on.
Okay, so the parking will be on the south side
Yes,
with an adjacent bike lane and a bike lane on the north side?
correct.
Okay, good. That sounds good. I had another question, but it just escaped me, so must not have been real important, but anyway, I know. From my recollection, there were at least a couple of small things done in conjunction with this project that will speed things up, at least a minor amount, when we go from 14th down to 8th. Can you go over those again, just for my benefit?
The sanitary sewer main as well as storm sewer main is installed from 13th to 14th, and the storm sewer work from 12th to 14th is pretty much complete already. So there's a head start on some of the utility work on that.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Any other questions for Jason, council? Thank you, Jason. Therefore, I'll entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 6 to Wix Construction, Decorah, Iowa, with regard to the Main Avenue Street Reconstruction Project, North 14th to North 20th Street, in the amount of $116,677.81.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark, that we approve pay estimate number 6 to Wix Construction. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. 6B, Downtown Retail Business Incubator Program. Review, Mr. Flory. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, refer to the yellow and pink sheets in your packet on this. Copy of a couple economic development agreements for a couple of projects that we're bringing to your attention this evening. So if you remember back at one of your council meetings in April, the council had approved the Downtown Retail Business Incubator Incentive Program. And over the last several weeks, the chamber and city representatives have been meeting with a couple of prospective businesses to determine their eligibility for inclusion in that program, and both do meet the requirements for that program. So Stacy is going to introduce both of those projects here in just a moment, but I want to go through in terms of the, just as a refresher on the grant agreement itself. So if you recall, we put together a rental subsidization program. So the terms of that rental subsidization program are for months 1 through 6, 50% subsidy not to exceed $830 monthly maximum. Months 7 through 12, 33% subsidy not to exceed $560 a month reimbursement. And lastly, months 13 through 18 to 17% subsidy not to exceed $275 a month. Also, we've included in the agreement assistance for building facade and signage improvements for the businesses. That's on a 50-50 cost share basis, not to exceed $2,500 for those improvements. And also required membership in the Chamber of Commerce for the period of time that they are included in the program. So each business under consideration this evening has met the requirement for a 3-year lease with the landlord of each of those properties. So first business in your packet there on the yellow sheet is Skip's Kicks at 308 Main, and the second one on the pink sheet is Chris Kettlecorn at 407 Main Avenue. So Like I said, we've met with both of those businesses. Mayor got a chance to join us for one of those, as did Creighton. I think met with both of them and I. So really happy to be able to bring these forward this evening. And unless there are any questions of me, I'll just have Stacy give you a little background on each of the business, and one of them is here this evening for introduction.
Council, any questions for Scott before Stacy comes? Thank you, Scott. Stacy Dawn, CEO of our Clear Lake Chamber. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for your commitment to keeping our main avenue full. We all know having a bustling retail region in Clear Lake is something that's special, and we have businesses just clamoring to be down there. So I just want to thank you for your commitment to that. And I think it's really exciting that within just a few weeks of passing this, we've had a couple of applications and some additional interest as well. So excited to welcome Skip's Kicks to our main avenue. They'll be in the old Emerson's building. They're looking to open Memorial Day weekend. And unfortunately, Joe couldn't be here, but she wanted to say thank you for the consideration to be part of the new business incubator program. And she's opening a specialty shoe store. So now we can get all of our athletic footwear right here in downtown Clear Lake. The next business I'd like to introduce, and they're actually here tonight, are Chris and Billy of Chris's Kettle Corn. And I think that they've introduced you to their business with a couple of cups full of their specialty popcorn. And with that, I'll invite Billy or Chris to come up and just share a little bit about their business and their plans for their new location on Main.
Thanks, Stacy. Welcome, Chris.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Stacy, Scott, thank you guys very much for bringing this in. So I'm Chris Anderson. I started Chris's Kettle Corn about 2.5 years ago, right here in Clear Lake at the farmer's market. At the time, keep the story short and keep the progress going here. I was working sales at Winnebago, and I was co-owner of Anderson's Market in Mason City. Just getting burnt out, so I decided to step away from that, but I still liked having that extra revenue in my pocket. So I bought a kettle machine, practiced in my garage, used my friends and family as guinea pigs, and perfected some recipes and talked to a lot of folks about how do I make this into a business, what are some other things I can add. And so the long story short is we got our birth right here in Clear Lake at the farmer's market. We're going to stay true to that market no matter how big or how small we get. So my hat's off to the folks that run that. So if you never get down there, at least get down and maybe shake some hands, because those people work their butts off. But we had a store in Mason City at Southbridge, decided to break ties with that because we always knew we wanted to come over here back home to Clear Lake. And so we were fortunate enough to find a place with Mandy Christopher and their family, and they're great people, right at 407 Main Avenue. So pretty excited about that. Product lines that we're going to be carrying in there are we have up to 36 different flavors of our kettle corn. And we also have a working agreement with the Great American Popcorn Company from Galena, and we'll be bringing some of their gourmet stuff in until we get our kitchen up and running in Mason. We have a warehouse. We'll be producing our own gourmet line. So we've fought through to get through this pandemic, and we've worked and partnered with a lot of other small businesses, and that's what it's about for us, is to partner here in town with other small businesses to help them grow as well. And so we kind of step out of the box with a lot of companies and helped other people get through this. So I don't have anything else. Do you guys have any questions of me?
So you've got notice about vintage candies.
Yeah. And we've been working with, when we first started looking for a place here in Clear Lake, which I've been trying to do for 2 years, we found out that Jessica Woods and her husband had bought the old Thrifty White. And we looked at it, but it was a little more than what we wanted to spend, and we didn't want to share that entity with anybody. We kind of wanted our own brick and mortar, our own place. So we've not partnered, but we are working with her. So we're not doing the same thing. We're not competing so much. So we're going to stick to all our popcorns. We're going to have some of the vintage candies that she doesn't carry, along with some of the glass vintage bottled sodas and a full line of saltwater taffy. So, and then come seasonal stuff, we'll probably be carrying like the fudges and the chocolates. We partner well with E&E Confections over by Elma. So,
But it's prompted a memory. My grandfather chewed Yucatan gum and blackjack gum,
Yeah.
and those just aren't around
we do
anymore.
carry them, yeah. We had
Yeah,
the clove, the demons, and the
Yeah, the
blackjack.
clove, and anyway, as a kid, I remember that. That and the camel straights, which I'd rather forget,
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Well, Mike, I'm glad you brought that up because, see, talking with Stacy and Scott, their question was, what do you want to do around here? And we want to become like our friends over in Galena. We want to make it so that when people come here and they vacation or they come back here for the summer, when they leave and they're coming back the following year, they're like, gosh, we got to get back to Chris's Kettle Corn. We kind of want to make it more of a destination than just a retail center. So,
yeah, well, sounds fun. As you can maybe see from my vintage hair, that
at
some
least
of
you got it.
so you bet, and I'm trying to hang on to it, but anyway.
Somebody stole my smoke when I first got here, Mike, because I told Stacy, I said, I'm going to walk up here and we were like, hi, Sharks, I'm Chris. You know? And then I heard somebody say something, I'm like, oh, there goes my thunder.
That goes. Anyway, thank you.
Enjoy the popcorn, guys.
So we can expect a long line like on Michigan Avenue where they wait for the popcorn there?
I hope we're providing the customer service where we don't have the long lines.
I'm sure with your enthusiasm, this will all happen. And being a Jersey boy, I've stood on the boardwalk many times and watched the twisting of the saltwater taffy there.
Oh,
So
it's
looking
an
forward
art
to
form.
that too. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments, council? Thanks. Okay. Therefore, I'll entertain a motion, and we have the two economic developments here on the pink and on the yellow. The approval, the economic development agreements by this particular city council, those that were just mentioned. Motion, please.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Gary, that we approve the economic development agreements. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you very much for being here, and thanks for the popcorn. Chief, report?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a brief report tonight. In the back of your packets, the blue sheet is our April 2021 numbers for the month. We did have a really recent street closure request that will take place next Monday that I need you to be aware of. The film crew that was shooting downtown today would like to take a block of Main Monday night at 10 p.m. till 2 in the morning. It won't really impact anybody, and we'll notify the businesses. They're just one block. I want to say it's between 3rd and 4th. I don't have the map, but I want to say it was just that block there, and they'll be done before morning. So if there's any problems with that, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll let them do that. And just finally, Captain Colby and I will be attending the Iowa Police Chiefs Conference next week in Coralville, but we'll be available by cell or email if anybody needs anything, but that's where we'll be. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Council, any questions for Chief? So we've got our street closing all in pretty much for the summer, don't we? To this point, anyway.
Ish, but yes.
Ish, yeah. Yeah. Well, we appreciate, the work that we do to allow these people to come in and be our guest, at least. It's kind of neat to have that compared to a year ago, where nothing happened. So, thanks, Chief. Public Work Director's Report. Jeremy Korenberg, welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Couple updates. The North 9th Street West North Shore Drive Storm Sewer Project is, for all purposes, complete. They have a couple sidewalk panels they're going to pour in the morning, and then they will be done. The patchwork on North Shore is all completed. Storm sewer is all in and going. Next item would be the Main Avenue sod watering. Was kind of discussed earlier, but we have been We talked with the landscaping crew that came in and placed the sod and kind of talked to them about how to water and how much. So we're kind of going by their recommendations. We're watering once, if not, or at least once a day. Over the weekend we did twice, kind of depending on the weather conditions. Today it was pretty cloudy, so we went out and checked in the afternoon after they got done watering. Everything was still pretty damp and moist underneath the sod, so we limited to one watering today, but we'll just kind of continue that every day for the next 3 or 4 weeks essentially. So you had mentioned pavement markings. I guess as far as that, we've talked with our mechanic Rod. He does a lot of our street pavement pavement markings. He will be, I don't know if he's going to be able to get started this week, but he'll be either started this week or this weekend on our uptown markings, and then we'll be getting Main Avenue while he has all that equipment out and running. So we'll get that all paved up, or marked up here in the next 2 weeks, I hope. The other item would be the delivery of the new sewer vac truck. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, we had our 1 day of training. Everything went pretty good, and now we've been out using it pretty regularly, trying to get it out every day, depending on our schedules. Obviously, there's a learning curve there, but the guys are taking to it. We're kind of working some of the kinks out, finding little things that we might need to modify or whatnot, just to make it work a little better for us. And then, yeah, just kind of getting it running. They'll have another day of training here in the next couple weeks, probably after Memorial Day. We'll get in and have them teach us up on some of the issues that we've been having. So other than that, I don't think I have anything else right now.
We'll use that jet vac for those filter boxes that go to the lake too.
Yep, we're gonna, since beginning of COVID, we had a break on our sewer cleaning, and then the issues we were having with our last truck, we're trying to catch up kind of on that sanitary sewer cleaning. So we're hitting that kind of first and pretty hard, and then we'll get into the storm sewers once we're done there. So the goal will be to get through them all by the end of fall. Obviously the fall with the leaves and stuff, kind of pack those back in, but we'll have to hit them most likely before then and see how the fall comes. But yep, we'll get all those cleaned up as soon as we can.
Council, any questions for Jeremy? Thanks, Jeremy, appreciate it. Under Mayor's report, first Chamber of Commerce report, Stacy Dawn.
So if you have had your head under a rock today and missed it, there is a film production crew here in town, which is really exciting, and Pete mentioned it, and I thought I'd just share a little bit about that because it's really interesting and it's an exciting thing that's happening in our town. So Renovo Media Group is operating within the new Kingland production facility, and they have been filming lots of different things, but this is probably the most exciting thing that they've done so far here in Clear Lake. They're filming a pilot for a television show, and it is about a widow who moves home to Iowa with her kids to be closer to family, and she opens a brew house. So this morning they changed the signage on the front of Skip's Kicks and Starboard Market to be storefronts that will actually be featured in the show. But I think more interesting is the economic impact that this is going to have on our community, because their crew that they're bringing in to stay at our hotels, our vacation rentals, is upwards of 75 people, in addition to actors and actresses. So just thinking about, a year ago we had no one in our hotels, and now our hotels are full of people who are filming this television show, I think is pretty neat. So we're working with them to try and make sure that they're accommodating to all of the imposing that maybe they're doing, but they've been a super great group to work with, and they're very cognizant of the fact that what they're doing can be intrusive, and they're open to feedback. So we need to make sure that we are hospitable to the people that they're bringing to town, and work with them on what they've got going on. It's just really exciting for us. A week from Saturday is Try Clear Lake. Less than 14 days to go. I've shared before, but we have 550 athletes registered for that race. That will start at 7:30 in downtown Clear Lake. They'll bike out south of town, come back in, and then run out north of town, and the swim will be along the seawall. It'll be a really spectacular event to watch. and experience. And so we're really excited to continue to grow that race. I think the race started out in its first year with just over a little over 200 athletes. We had 550 athletes capped out about a month and a half ago. We could have probably taken the race to 750 plus athletes this year, but we want to make sure we're growing the race in a way that's smart and allows us to put on the best race day experience for our athletes. So we'll test out this 550, which is the largest ever for us, and then we'll hopefully grow from there. And then the following Thursday, we will kick off Thursdays on Main on June 3rd. We are also hosting a ribbon cutting for the visitor center. If you haven't been down to the Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center in some time, we did do a little refresh, some paint and some new imagery and different things. And so that is going to happen at 4:30 on June 3rd. And then last minute invite, but I think I mentioned this last time I was here, there is a business after hours tomorrow night in Central Gardens. It is Central Gardens in partnership with Country Landscapes from 4:30 to 6. And Central Gardens will be showing off many of the recent updates in the gardens, as well as celebrating their successful capital campaign. So if you can join us for 5 minutes or for 90 minutes, we'd love to have you tomorrow night. Any questions?
Council, any questions for Stacy? You've got to see the inside. If you haven't been the inside of the Chamber of Commerce, the signage in there is just, is that what we're calling it?
Yep,
Signage? Yeah,
sure.
it's just wonderful. It really is. The whole thing brightens up compared to Fleet before.
Question on, they're shooting the pilot here
Yeah.
now, Stacy? Are they gonna continue shooting here with series, or?
Yeah, their goal is, once the pilot is filmed, they'll work to try and sell it to one of the streaming services, whether that's a Netflix, Hulu, NBC, what have you. And then if and when, being optimistic, when it gets picked up, they'll shoot the additional 7 to 8 episodes, and they want to do it right here to finish out the series. So
Sure.
it's something that could definitely continue on into the future and be great for our community.
Would be, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. It was fun. There were lots of looky-loos, lots of people standing on the opposite side of the road watching. I mean, it was really spectacular what they were doing. Very impressive.
And what's the title of the
Strong Tower.
Strong Towers, huh? Well, stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, and honestly, great group of guys who are leading that the Renovo Media Group. Doug Took and Eric Groth are just phenomenal, and they want to build good relationships in our community, and they are invested members in this community, and we're really glad to have them.
So look at it as an opportunity.
Yes.
Another one. Yeah, thanks.
All right, thanks.
Chad Schreck, CEO, North Iowa Corridor. Welcome, Chad.
Council, appreciate the time tonight. Just a few things, nothing that exciting, unfortunately, but really some cool things. Again, congratulate the city and these new businesses. I think the rental program is a cool program and very helpful for retail, especially in this year. But the exciting thing has been how much interest there is just in retail, restaurants, everything else. You know, we've mentioned the Thrifty White Building in the Woods purchasing that. I know they're excited about this program for the prospects that they could bring in. Actually spoke to a gentleman that is potentially interested in putting a restaurant in there. So that could be very cool. He had another location fall through today, unfortunately, but really actively pursuing that in town. Also working with the Woods on some housing tax credit possibilities and some other downtown funding programs. As you know, they want to do some upper level housing in there, as well as the retail on the first floor. So just some really cool opportunities there, and hopefully we can help them with some funding resources to make that all happen and make it a little more palatable. It's not a cheap endeavor, obviously, as you do those things. Also, I'd mentioned in the past the NIACOG low interest or zero interest loans that had come through. 2 of those were in the city. One of them is Farm and Home, who do the plat books, and then the other one is actually for a new company, a distillery project. I can say that much so far, and we're hoping to introduce those guys as soon as possible. But really excited for that to be coming to the community. That is in the works, and they should start in the next month or 2 on some of the work on their buildings. So, like I said, we'll try to introduce those guys soon and get some cool things going on that. We had our investor forum last Friday, had a really good discussion around workforce issues as we continue to. Obviously, we had the unemployment rates up over the pandemic. We've seen that really come back to earth, and employers are feeling the crunch again. And the Des Moines Register actually had a pretty good editorial about population issue. As a state, we've really been trying to push and push and push through our Vision North Iowa and a lot of other efforts on how do we impact that. We actually, so out of our investor forum, we had another group of folks and local business leaders that really wanted to be a part of getting some more active things going. So we're going to pull a group of about 10 folks together here in a couple of weeks just to get the employer opinion on this and some things that they'd like to see. So we're going to be trying to pull some recommendations out of that group in the next 2 weeks here, and using that in some of our strategic planning and how we can make recommendations to the city. Had a really good meeting here last week with the city and potential housing study and comp planning that I think could be an important part of that, and hopefully some of these kind of sessions with our employers will help inform some of those discussions as well. Also, our annual meeting coming up June 10th at 11:30 at the historic, famous, award-winning Surf Ballroom, so hope you can all make that. All those things should be coming out to you. If you haven't gotten invited yet, let me know. Definitely get that to you shortly. So, also we'll have a virtual option if you need to do that. So, I think that's all I got, unless you want to talk about the other agenda on with Marty. But I don't know if you need me for that or not.
No, I think we're good on it. Thank you. Any questions for Chad? Appreciate it, Chad. Several of us did a tour of the Marriott Fairfield, was that a week ago? I think somewhere in there. And we went from top to bottom, which is actually how they finished the top and worked their way down. But, you know, tremendous progress, a ways to go. Lots of issues there. Kalpesh Patel, the owner of the management firm, he took us on that tour. Ryan Hugerick, I think I'm pronouncing that pretty close anyway. The contractor was there as well. It's coming along, unbelievable, with all the restrictions that we have and the slowness of getting goods, shall we say, today. Hopefully, I think he indicated to us he would like to have Mr. Patel open by middle of August. So we'll see. I even had a call today for someone that said, is it going to be open by the middle of July? And gee, sorry, and that would have been a good one as well. But they're still coming to Clear Lake, and they're going to put up their people in various hotels as well. And that's the important part of that. But folks, we've got a lot of things happening in this town. We've got a lot of, as the juggler in the circus would say, you know, I've got 10 of these balls in the air trying to juggle them all at once, and it's a great problem to have. And I think the staff that we have and the people in our community, that we all work together, and we all do work together in this town, it will be successful, whatever we have going. So it's an exciting, exciting, exciting time. Speaking of that, I do believe, and I think I have this right, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Flory, but the CDC has said it's okay to return to normal or semi-normal as you all see fit. So if at our next meeting, which shall be 3 weeks from now, I do believe, I think we've got an extra Monday in this month, so we will try to come back as all of us here on the dais, everybody having the option, of course, to wear a mask if they so choose, but let's look to that unless there are any issues with that at this time. Okay, none appearing. We'll look forward to that. First of all, as Chad just alluded to, I need to reappoint Marty Menson to the North Iowa Corridor EDC Board for a 3-year term beginning July 1st, 2021. Refresh your memory. Marty Menson is a resident of this community, 507 North Shore Drive to be exact, and he has been on the North Iowa Corridor for 3 years, and he is an employee of Alliant Energy in Mason City. So he works for our power supplier, and he's a resident of our community, and he asked to be reappointed, and we are pleased, I do believe, to reappoint him to the North Iowa Corridor. But I need a motion for that, please.
So moved.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mark, that we approve the reappointment of Marty Menson to the North Iowa Corridor EDC Board for a 3-year term beginning July 1. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Flory, report.
Excuse me, Mayor.
I'm sorry?
Could I have 60 seconds before we move on?
Sure.
It doesn't have anything to do with much of anything except nostalgia for me. Today would have been Old Glory, AKA Carrie Heitland, my grandmother's 119th birthday. I think there's 6 people in this room that actually remember Carrie, because if you sat at a Veterans Day assembly in Clear Lake, you watched this old lady come to the stage and give the school a flag, and she was Clear Lake's most diehard patriot. You know, other people celebrated Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving. Hers were Memorial Day, the 4th of July, and Veterans Day. I mean, and I'm not kidding, that was her. But she was a wonderful lady, and I would truly remember her as a Clear Lake classic. Now, she only made 99 of those 119 years, but she did all right, and I wish you could have all known her. So anyway, sorry for the interruption. But
No problem. Fine lady, great citizen of this community, so thank you. Mr. Flory, City Administrator's report. Excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple of things Chad mentioned briefly. Bennett, myself, Creighton, Stacy all sat in on a meeting with a planning agency regarding an update to our comprehensive plan. It's been almost 13 years since our comprehensive plan was updated. We had allocated money in the budget to do that, but in talking with that consultant, we talked about the need to address housing strategy and assess our housing situation on a little bit broader scale than what we might be able to look at with the comprehensive plan. So essentially we talked about doing an overall study that would be an update to the comprehensive plan and a housing needs assessment and strategy on best to deal with some of our housing issues going forward. So we're going to get a proposal from them and hopefully bring that back here at the next meeting. But you know, I was listening to Nelson talk here the other day. We were kind of chatting about this a little bit more, and you know, he made I thought a really great comment following that meeting, and that in particular, really, it's important to think about revisiting those kinds of plans and strategies coming out of the pandemic. You know, I think obviously there's going to be a change in how we do business and practice things and develop strategies for things like housing and just overall community growth. And so probably now even more than ever is more important after the 15-month period that we've been enduring here to take a good look at those things and plan for the future. So hopefully I have something here for the next meeting, but be about a year-long process developing this plan. So really a comprehensive process, and I think you know, we're all pretty impressed with the consultant and the experience that they have in working with other communities. I thought they bring a lot of good perspective here. In fact, the person with the firm that would do the planning has been coming here, I think he said, for somewhere around 3 or 4 decades, for a long time, staying out on the South Shore with a couple of different families out there. So very knowledgeable about Clear Lake and pretty excited about the opportunity maybe to work with us in the future on those 2 things. And then I want to give you an update on the Wellness Center Executive Director search process. So the committee, and I've got to say the committee that was appointed to serve as the board of directors for the Wellness Center is just doing an outstanding job. Couldn't think of 5 better people to serve on that, and it's exciting to be a liaison member to that group because there's a lot of energy, a lot of passion, care a lot about Clear Lake, and want to see the best person hired for that position that we can get. So I think I mentioned at the last meeting we had a really positive response to that position announcement that was put in the paper and then advertised out on social media, our website, and other locations. We put it on a bunch of state association websites and so forth, but got a real good positive response for that. So we've concluded our virtual interview process with the candidates that we identified as those meeting the best criteria the best for the position. So concluded that here at the end of last week, and have met again to narrow that down to our finalist candidates. So we're picking the days this week to bring them in and do more in-depth interviewing in person. Also want them to meet some of the other key people in the community, representatives of the school district. Of course, they'll work very closely with those folks as well. Mayor, finance director, and others, and hopefully we get the dates pinned down. I can send that out, and a few of you can stop in and meet some of the candidates as well. But it's been an outstanding process. Just couldn't be more impressed with the quality of candidates that we've gotten for this position. In fact, I've been doing this for quite a while, and we've hired everybody from street operators to police chiefs in that time, and I've never seen a group of candidates so well credentialed and the margins between them so razor thin. So it really, I think it's a combination of a great community, but also an exciting opportunity to come in on the ground floor of a facility like this. So I think whoever is selected, we're going to get a good one, and they're going to be a good fit for our community for a long time. So really, really exciting things ahead there. So hopefully you'll be able to bring forward a name pretty soon for that. So
Going back to this comprehensive plan that you and I both talked about, I feel that this is really, really critical and, timely. What was the last one, 08?
08, yes, sir.
08,
Yeah.
so, and that acts as our guide. Where does this city go with regard to city government? And it's very, very important, and this particular plan will last, about a year, and it will include all members of the community. It won't be a select group that chooses that, so that's critical, as well as, the wellness director, that person will be a city employee, very, very critical for us, knowing that everything that goes on there, even though we're working with, collaborating with, cooperating with the high school and the rest of the community, that will be an intergenerational position. That person will be key to making this a success. And I think the manner in which we have gone about it is very, very well done. And, as I've always said, the key to this community are the people in this community. And that's what we're doing this for and of, as the saying goes. So very critical. Any other questions for Scott? Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate that. Any other business, council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have
Yes, sir.
something.
Yes, sir.
After much thought searching, I feel that at this time, we as the Council of Clear Lake, Iowa, need to entertain and give a nod of approval for our city administrator, Mr. Flory, to explore the possibility of prohibiting the usage of all public accesses to the lake and all public docks for the sole purpose of any and all commercial businesses by ordinance. After last week's meeting between the city officials and Pure Genius, it has become quite clear that the legacy, integrity, and the use of the Main Street dock by a commercial business is not only incompatible and is more importantly, is affecting the longevity of the new dock, which has been a substantial investment by the city. Our public accesses and public docks could easily be in jeopardy of becoming a financial burden. Already, early into this season, a conflict has come to light between a commercial business and the two-day walleye fishing tournament, where the road was closed to the public access, as was passed by the council on April 5th, 2021. I urge my fellow council persons to give a nod of approval, which allows Mr. Flory to proceed.
Mayor, I'd like to
Yes.
respond to that if I could. Thank you, Gary, for raising the issue. I do appreciate the fact that you're concerned about the dock and maintenance, and we've discussed that. So I guess my thought on that would be, though, is I have no problem with Scott studying this issue and bringing it to us, but I think it's important that perhaps we, let the ordinance that we passed last year have some time to work and go forward on that and see how that proceeds, I guess. My perspective has always been that we need to preserve incidental commercial use on that dock. But, I think there's a balance to that, and I know that when we do have an ordinance, if there's a violation of that, we can address that and deal with those issues. So just some of my thoughts on that. It's quite an attraction. I've been down there this spring, and people really love that dock. And we've put some real time, energy, and money into it, and we do want to preserve it. But I think from my perspective, I love the fact that a lot of people are using it. And I think it will involve some ongoing cost on our part to maintain it, but I think that's well worth it. And yet at the same time, as Gary's, I think, getting at here, if we have commercial use that becomes so egregious that it's, damaging the dock or impacting other events, then I think it's fine with me to have Scott or our staff, Chief of Police and others study that issue. So anyway, those are just some of my thoughts. Thank you.
Any other comments, council? Mr. Hughey asked for a nod of our head to ask Scott to proceed with this, keeping in mind, as Mr. Smith has just said, that we already have an ordinance that involves that we all took part in last, I believe it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. I'll ask, is there a nod of heads here, so to speak? And I'll call upon you individually. Mike?
Yeah, I'm in.
Mark?
Yeah, doesn't hurt to look.
Sure. Dana?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Is it unanimous? All right.
Yep.
Mr. Flory will take that under advisement, and we'll move on from there. Any other business, council, to come before us tonight? None appearing. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.